On your Tuesday episode of Locked On Raptors, we're 10 games into the Raptors season, which means we can start smelling stuff.
You are Locked On Raptors, your daily Toronto Raptors podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, what's going on? And welcome to another episode of Locked On Raptors, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. It is Tuesday, November the 11th, and I'm your host, Sean Woodley. I've been covering the Toronto Raptors now for 12 seasons on various platforms. You can find all my work over on Blue Sky. You can find the show on Instagram. You can join us in the Locked On Raptors Discord server. Link in the description of the podcast. 100% free to join. We'd love to see you become part of our listener family over there. And today's show is brought to you by our friends over at Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. And we're off and running here on a Tuesday edition of the show, playing a stupid little game, as we always do with the guest we have on today's show. We're playing the smell test. We're 10 games into the season. We have some stats on paper from your Toronto Raptors. We've seen some tape. We've got a decent enough sample to start drawing some conclusions, though not all, as we will discuss today. And today, it's pretty simple. Me and your guest have three things we've come up with. One that is a real thing from the first 10 games that's going to stick all year. One that is not so real, that is going to regress positively or negatively to the mean. And a third thing that we need some more time to sniff. And here to help me in said sniffing is our pal Vivek Jacob from Raptors in 7. Big V, how the hell are you? Do you have your nostrils clear today? Did you give yourself a little neti pot? Are you feeling ready to smell stuff?
I'm ready, man. Fully ready. Showered, nose cleaned, smelling all the smells. Ready to go.
Let's get rolling here, Big V, as we talk about smelling stuff. We're 10 games into the season, and we're going to smell some stuff that we think is real with the Toronto Raptors first. We'll get to the stuff we think is not real and stuff we need more time with later. But let's go. I'll go first. My first thing that's real, and I gave you carte blanche with this one to go as wide-reaching, as specific, as broad as you wanted. I went with like an Eastern Conference level takeaway here of what's real. I think the Eastern Conference is going to be this clustered between at least seeds 3 and 11 all season long. Right now, seeds 3 to 11 in the Eastern Conference are currently separated by 2 losses. Compare that to the West, where the gap between 3 and 11 is 5 losses already. And I just don't think that's going to change. I think we're going to see teams fall back after hot starts. I think we're going to see teams go on runs like the Raptors did after starting 1-4. You rattle off 4 in a row, you're right back in the mix. We're seeing the Chicago Bulls in a bit of a spell right now after starting 6-1. I think they're down to 6-4. Like, I just feel like there is so little separating the teams in this group. And all of them are like pretty good. And you look around the league, last night was just like an incredible league pass night with buzzer beaters and close games all around. Most of them involving teams in this section of the Eastern Conference, whether they're playing against one another or they're playing against Western Conference teams, whatever. I just think you're not going to find a whole lot of differentiation between these two teams, or these 8 teams, 9 teams, whatever it is in the conference. And I think the way they all stack up with one another, each matchup brings its own sort of interesting flavor. And I think every game is going to matter so much that there's going to feel like stakes, because you just can't give up losses to the teams you're jockeying with. I also even think, like, the Raptors play the Nets tonight. They're 1-9. They are awful. I think, are going to see the Raptors kind of bring it in this one. You're going to have to, because you can't give up games to the Nets and the Wizards and the Pacers and the Hornets of the world, because those are the games that are going to determine who finishes 4th in the East and who finishes 10th or 11th. I just think it's that close. This Eastern Conference is wildly compelling to me, and I don't think it's changing at all over the course of the season. If anything, I think we might see Detroit fall back to the pack a little bit, because I don't think, shocker, they're an 800 win percentage team. I just love it, man. I don't know. How are you feeling about this Eastern Conference? I know it's not the sexy, all the title contenders are out there type of conference, but it just feels like there's so many pretty good teams that have their own strengths and weaknesses that it's going to make for a very, very close jockeying for the entire season. And I, frankly, rate it.
I'm going to maybe even go a little hotter on that take.
Ooh, let's go.
I think even 1 and 2 are wide open.
Ooh, I was thinking about it. I thought maybe the Cavs and the Knicks would eventually kind of pull themselves away, but hey, I'm here for this too.
So I think the Knicks are like very conscious of like, hey, we want to be, we have specific goals for the playoffs in mind. And I think Mike Brown even talked about it when they beat the Nets and saying, hey, like we set out saying, Michael Porter Jr., I think, had like 22 in the first half or something. And they kind of just set out like a playoff scheme for him in the second half and kind of shut him down. And they were like, that was the focus. And he was like, yeah, we want the offense to function in a certain way. We want the pace to be a certain way. And I think there's going to be some growing pains in like doing that. And they're willing to take the lumps. And I think that part of it is because they also don't feel like a sense of urgency of like, hey, we need to get to 60 wins to win the East, you know?
Right.
I do feel like that urgency may come in like the final 10 games of the season or something like that. But I feel like because the East feels so open, they feel like they have more time to play with and more margin to actually like experiment with some stuff.
Yeah.
I think the Cavs, honestly, like their injury issues at the start of the season are a bit concerning, right? Like you look at Darius Garland, like he got procedure done on his toe. He's come back. Now he's out again. Max Strus is out. So they're dealing with different things. And I'm not sure how long that's going to linger. I don't think, having done all the regular season stuff that they could have hoped to do last season, I think they also kind of look at it and say, okay, we don't, 60 wins, been there, done that type of thing. So I honestly think, now I'm not saying, the team that's in 11th can get to 1, but
sure.
Is there a world in which, you look at the way the Miami Heat are playing and then they get Tyler Herro back. Is there a path for them to potentially be the 1 seed? The way things are going right now, I think it's possible. I think 1 and 2 is actually more open. And I think we've kind of just, because of what happened last season, taken the assumption that it's going to be the Cavs and the Knicks. But I think it'll be interesting to see how things shake out and how things look maybe halfway through the season.
I like that. And I think to even add on to that point, to continue to prove that, in fact, you are right here and that it is more open 1 through 11 than just 3 to 11. If every team that is a potential first round matchup for a top seeded team is basically the same team, and they're all equally talented or, equally, sort of riddled with flaws, maybe it doesn't matter to really angle for the 1 and 2 seeds quite as much. Obviously, you want to get home court. That's the most important thing. But I think, you could maybe see less of a gas pedal being pushed down to just sort of secure, we need that 1 seed so we can take on whatever garbage comes out of the 9, 10 or 8, 9, 10 range of the play-in. And because those aren't going to be garbage teams. And look, some of these teams might fall off. I think the Celtics are probably going to fall off at some point when they realize it's better for them to tank than to sort of try to be competent. Although if they get to a certain point in the year and they're at 500-ish, then maybe Jason Tatum does in fact come back and throw a whole wrench into this whole thing. It's a fascinating conference. I love it. It's like perfect, like just a little less good basketball than the Western Conference, but you don't need the 2 most talented teams in the world playing against each other to have good competitive basketball and entertaining basketball. You just got to have 2 teams that give a damn, and they're going to be 2 teams that give a damn in most Eastern Conference matchups all season long. I love it. I think it's great. Big V, for you, what is your thing that you're sniffing and saying, that smells real?
So I went a bit more specific with the Raptors, and I looked at the Raptors shooting percentage at the rim, and this is within 4 feet of the basket. This was something I had kind of earmarked from last season to keep an eye on this season to see if there would be tangible improvement. Last season, they shot 62.4% at the rim, which was good for 29th in the league, second last. This season so far, they are at 68%. So almost a 6% improvement. That has them up to 13th. I do feel like this is real. I think that they are taking better shots at the basket. We've talked about, RJ Barrett having a much more refined shot spectrum after sort of the increased usage and the demands kind of being too heavy on him last season. I think in general, the team is taking better shots. Brandon Ingram is shooting 80% within 3 feet of the basket. Maybe that won't continue. But I still feel on the whole, expecting them to be around league average in rim shooting percentage is pretty reasonable.
Yeah, it would be a pretty substantial and important improvement from last year, where you can get all the rim pressure you want. If your total bricks the rim, it doesn't quite matter, as we saw very much play out for the team last season. And I have some thoughts on this that kind of flow into the thing I'm still sniffing out a little bit that we can maybe expand upon a little bit later, V. But I think this is a great shout. I think the process seems to be there. The finishing just seems like it's improved from, obviously Ingram bringing that to the table. Scottie's been a little more effective around the rim. Even Quickly has had a better 2-point shooting season than I think he's getting credit for so far. The floater has kind of been waxing and waning, but the at rim stuff has been actually all right. And then, Barrett at the rim has just been ridiculous. I think he's at 74% right now at the rim, which is nuts. That's going to probably come down a little bit, but I think as a whole, it's sort of floating in the middle of the pack in rim accuracy for this team. Huge improvement from last year, and doesn't seem to me like it's terribly unsustainable with the improved talent they have on the roster. I love it. We'll come back on the side here, Big V, and continue to talk about things that we're stiffing through 10 games, and we'll come back and talk about stuff that we're not so sure are very real from the first 10 games of action. We'll get to that coming up in just one sec. Today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you missed the game or want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team's making that late push. And it's not just the NBA, of course. I've been looking at baseball futures because I'm missing the baseball season. The Blue Jays were incredible. It was such a fun ride. And I am very much of the mind that this team is going to go and do some redemption next season. And they are currently like pretty long shot favorites to win the World Series. Not even favorites is not the right word. They are long shots to do it. Put some money down on the Jays to go and win the World Series right now. You could probably make some scratch if they actually go ahead and do that. Plus, you can bet on where certain free agents are going to go. Kyle Tucker, Toronto, why not? Go check it out right now. FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Today's show is also brought to you by Mint Mobile. If you're still overpaying for wireless, it's time to say yes to saying no at Mint Mobile. Their favorite word is no. No contracts, no monthly bills, no overages, no hidden fees, no BS. And making the switch is super easy. All you got to do to get your $15 a month of premium wireless access is to say yes to Mint Mobile. Mint makes it simple. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. You can even bring your own phone and keep your same number and contacts, which is a big deal. No one likes changing numbers. We're too adult for that now. I don't want to text a bunch of people, be like, oh, I got a new number. Here it is. Save it, please. No, keep your number like an adult with Mint Mobile. You get the same quality service you had before, but for a fraction of the price. The setup is super easy. You keep your phone number and you're up and running in a matter of minutes. Ready to say yes to saying no. Make the switch to Mint Mobile at LockedOnNBA or mintmobile.com/LockedOnNBA. That's mintmobile.com/LockedOnNBA. Upfront payment of $45 required, equivalent to $15 a month. Limited time new customer offer for 3 months only. Speeds may slow above 35 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details. Back at it here with Big V, Vivek Jacob, as we continue to smell stuff from the first 10 games of Toronto Raptors basketball and determine whether or not that smells real or not. All right, stuff we are smelling that we're like, that doesn't quite smell right. That doesn't smell like it's going to keep on smelling like this. As the flavors evolve, the smell is going to change on this. I'll go first on this one, Big V. For me, I don't think the starters are going to struggle this immensely over the course of the whole season. Maybe this is me being my classic toxic optimist. I don't care. I just don't think they are a negative 7.7 net rating lineup on pure talent. I understand the fit concerns. It's why I picked them to just be like a slight above net zero in terms of overall impact on the season. But minus 7.7 is way too far gone. And they're already starting to claw themselves back after a tough first 4 games. They're a positive over the last couple of games by a pretty significant margin. And I just think that's going to persist as they get more time together, as Jakob Poeltl's back hopefully feels better and gets more sturdy, and he looks less like a hobbled mess like he did for the first few games. as Emmanuel quickly starts to, bang triples and, kind of give us the production we expected we'd get from him. I don't think they're this bad. In particular, I don't think they're this bad at defense, Big V. They have 129.8 defensive rating in 172 possessions together. That's a 4th percentile defensive rating. And yes, I get it. Quickly, Barrett, Ingram is not like a defensive murderer's row of perimeter defense. They're too good, or were too good last season with Scotty Barnes and Pirtle on the floor. Just those two, regardless of who else was there, for me to think, oh, they've just fallen off this cataclysmically. They are not going to be a 4th percentile defensive lineup. I feel pretty sure about that. You've already seen some improvement from Quickly on the defensive end the last couple of games. He was excellent in that Hawks game on Friday. Tyrese Maxey, he's making every defense look bad right now. So I don't really put that one too badly on the Raptors. I just think they're going to figure it out. And the offense has very much come around. They're at 122.1 offensive rating, which is like a 75th percentile offense per clean the glass, moving in the right direction there after a miserable start. I just think there's too much talent here, V, for them to be this bad as a lineup. And I think the encouraging signs, crunch time against the Hawks in particular, though the game against Milwaukee was a strong outing for this group too. I just think they're headed in the right direction and are going to end up being, a slightly above the waterline lineup over the course of the year. Where are you at on this one? Do you feel me in this not really smelling real for the first, I guess they've only played like 6 games together.
Yeah, no, I think it's going to improve. I think that, even with the defense, it was a lot of it, I feel, was just decision making with the doubles, with, the over aggressiveness. And I think that's something that has started to scale back and just be smarter. And yeah, Yak's health is a big factor in this. And the more able-bodied he looks, the better that starting lineup will perform. I think it's just been a question of Quickly and Yak coming around. The other 3 are where you want them to be. And yeah, I think they will continue to improve. I think that defensive rating will improve. I think the net rating will be a positive. Maybe it won't be a huge positive, like you said, but I won't be surprised if by the end of the season it's hovering somewhere between the +3, +5 mark.
Yeah. Let's go to your thing that you're sniffing and not totally buying so far, Big V. What you got for me?
So I was looking up pull-up 3-pointers for the Toronto Raptors. And as a team, it's pretty amazing to see that they are shooting 42.6% on pull-up threes.
That real?
And so I looked into the individuals responsible for that. And Scotty Barnes is 8 for 13 on pull-up 3-pointers. And I said, I do not think this is going to last much longer.
Come on. You're a hater. You hate Scotty Barnes. That's crazy. 8 of 13 on pull-ups is not okay. I'm going to look this up if you haven't already. How many pull-up threes he hit all of last season? Because it feels like it was like 4.
Yeah, I forget the total number. So you go ahead and do that.
Yeah, I'll do that while you talk.
I will say that, for the time being, obviously it's great to see Scotty shooting the ball the way he is from deep. And I think, there's been situations where he's just kind of walked into a 3. And I think that's probably the part that has helped him. It's not, the run, full body momentum, halt, pull up 3, right? It's kind of like, hey, we're just going to navigate and see what's here. Oh, look at that. They are completely sagged off me. I can just rise up without kind of that forward momentum. And I think that's kind of helped him make these 8 pull-up threes so far.
Yeah.
What you got?
He hit 24 pull-up threes all of last season on 94 attempts. So, yeah, he's a little bit ahead of the pace this season. Great to see. I mean,
well, that's my stat that's not going to last.
That's totally fair. He has been a ridiculously good 3-point shooter to start the season. I don't think anyone had that on their bingo card. Even the biggest Scotty optimists, I think, were probably a little, are we really sure this is happening? Let me ask you this then, Big V. I think we all agree the pull-up stuff, 8 of 13. Like, no one's a 61.5% pull-up 3-point shooter, not even Steph Curry. But Scotty so far is a 40% catch-and-shoot 3-point shooter. What do you feel about that one? Because you hear them talk about the sort of shot doctor stuff and sort of the way he's trying to, be more set, all this stuff. The classic fundamental coach stuff of, you just have your feet squared and shoot the ball and follow through and all of that stuff. And like, it's classic coach stuff because there is something to it. Do you buy the 40% on catch and shoots from Scotty so far?
You know what? I'm going to say yes. I think there's a path to him being, say, 37% plus.
Sure.
And I think, again, it just comes down to taking the right shots. I think it comes down to him not being so much in movement as he's shooting the ball. And it's very much a set shot. And I think that has really helped him with this high percentage that he's shown so far. So I would say, yeah, man, the catch and shoots are looking good. I'm trusting it when he gets the shot. I'm like expecting him to shoot it and he's like letting it fly, right? There's no hesitation in the shot. And I think that's the positive. Maybe the test will really be when he starts to miss, or he goes through a cold stretch, and is he still willing to show that same sort of gumption and just let the ball fly? That'll be probably the biggest test of it. But for now, it looks pretty good.
Yeah. And I will say, the last time we saw Scotty Barnes playing off of a sort of better lead creator in Pascal Siakam before the trade, that was the best stretch he ever had as a 3-point shooter. In that 23-24 season, in 60 games, he shot 89 of 231 from on catch and shoots for a 38.5% clip. Like there's not zero track record of him being okay at this specific shot. And so I'm a little more inclined to believe the catch and shoot stuff is real. The pull up stuff, yeah. I mean, if it keeps up like this, congrats on your MVP and all of that, Scotty. But I think we're a long ways away from that becoming any sort of thing we can count on being a new part of Scotty Barnes' game. I do like the pull up mid-range stuff he's doing, though. Just like walk into that 12, 14 footer. It feels like it's butter every single time. We'll come back into the side here, Big V, and wrap it up with our things that we're still sniffing out, things we're yet to figure out if it's real or not, that we're keeping tabs on over the next 10 games before we smell some stuff again. We will do that coming up in just 1 second to close out the show. Today's show is brought to you by our friends over at Game Time, the single best place to buy tickets for the sporting events that you want to go to. And I cannot recommend Game Time enough. I am a loyal user of the app. I've been using it for sports, comedy, concerts, whatever it is for a long time. I've gone to games in all kinds of cities for all kinds of sports across this continent of ours. And Game Time has just been my go-to ever since I came across the app. Frankly, when they started sponsoring this podcast a few years ago, I love it. You get all kinds of wonderful things. You see exactly what you're going to pay. There's no hidden fees at checkout. Their zone deals are a game changer. You just pick the section, Game Time, pick your seats, and you save big. And you get to see exactly what your seat view is going to be as well, which is a big deal, especially if you're going to a place you've never been before. You don't want to end up behind a pillar by accident. You go to like an old baseball stadium, there are all kinds of weird old pillars just blocking the view, and Game Time lets you know, hey, don't buy the seats there because you'll just be looking at this big concrete brick for a long time and not actually seeing the action. It's a lovely thing that I have used to save me and my sight lines time and time again. Take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. That's code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Today's show is also brought to you by Robinhood. Your ambition just met its match. With Robinhood, you play for the win, not just on game day, every day, locking in on every opening, beating your PR, beating it again. Channel that energy into your money. Robinhood puts you in control of your money. It trades stocks and ETFs, options, futures, and crypto all in one platform. You can now build and execute your own trades from a desktop with Robinhood Legends advanced tools, or take advantage of new Robinhood strategies with a tailored portfolio managed by a team of experts. You expect more from yourself, expect more from your money. Get started today at Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Again, that's Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Your money, your move. Wrapping up the smell test here with Vivek Jacob, he of the cleansed nostrils, as we continue to look at the first 10 games of Raptors ball and determine what's real, what's not, and what do we need more time with. And we are on to that last thing now, what we need more time to sort out as we, it's like our olfactory senses are like sending us in all kinds of different directions right now. What's going on? I'll start with mine, the thing I still haven't figured out. Like, They're not actually going to have the 8th best half-court offense all season long, are they, V? Like, it's I'm still a little baffled by it, considering the depths of half-court despair we've plunged to in recent years. It's been totally refreshing to see them have a clue in the half-court, and they've had more than a clue. They've just been a good half-court offensive team. I just, some stuff suggests it's going to stick. Some stuff suggests maybe not. And some stuff is kind of in the middle, which is why I'm very much like, I don't know what to make of all of this. And maybe they will just be like a pretty solid half-court offense all season long. A couple things that leave me a little bit unsure. They're 9th in effective field goal percentage right now. Obviously, the Brandon Ingram effect has been a big deal. RJ Barrett can't miss. Scotty Barnes has had a career best start efficiency-wise on account of all those pull-up threes, but also other stuff he's doing as well. They have the 16th highest effective field goal percentage expected per clean the glass, which is kind of a fall off from where they've been. They've usually been a very good shot chart team. It just hasn't completed the shots. I would rather be in this situation where their shot chart's a little less sexy on paper and they're actually making the shots. But I wonder if, their sort of drop off in rim frequency. They used to be like 1 or 2 in the league the last couple seasons. They're at 15th in rim frequency right now. They're still 24th in 3-point frequency, which is way above where they were the last couple seasons, is 29th or 30th, but still not super high. They're hitting all their threes, which is also a weird thing. They have the 5th best 3-point percentage of any team in the league. I don't know how real that is. They have a lot of good shooters. Quickly is a great shooter. Scotty Barnes apparently is a 61% pull-up guy. Definitely going to stick. Mamu's been incredible. Grady Dick, we know, is a good shooter. Jamal Shed, maybe he's just a good low volume 3-point shooter now. Ingram has been kind of a bad 3-point shooter to start the year, and that's probably going to turn around, you would think. It's a weird one, man, because the process, let me just kind of run this by you. I feel like they have less of a clear offensive identity this season than they did the last couple of years, where it was we're going to pass the ball a bazillion times. We're going to move the ball. We're going to run, dribble handoffs and all this stuff and just kind of put teams in the blender. It wasn't a very effective blender. It was like a Dollarama blender where it just did not really produce that much in terms of results, but you knew exactly how they wanted to play every possession down. And now it feels a little we're going to do some of this and some of this and some of that. And it's producing better results, but I don't know if I quite have a handle on what is the core intention of this offense every time down the floor. And so that's why I'm still feeling a little wishy-washy on it. You also add in the fact that they're just a good turnover percentage team now. They're 9th best in the league at taking care of the ball after being miserable at it the last couple of years. Is this just Ingram is an ISO guy who, is a lower turnover guy? Shed has kind of improved, although he, I think, sneakily had a pretty good assist turnover last year. He was 2.5 to 1. He's up to 5 to 1 now, assist to turnover, which is awesome. Quickly has always been a pretty high ball security guy. Scotty's got a career low turnover percentage, less usage, smarter passes, easier offensive environment. Maybe that all sticks. I don't know, man. Just a lot of stuff that I did not really expect with the offense, and I don't quite know how much to believe it, but sure would be awesome if all this stuff stuck, because watching a good offensive team is kind of nice after watching one that has been miserable the last few years. What do you make of the offense so far?
Yeah, I believe in the half-court offense, man. I wouldn't be surprised if they finish the season top 10. I think I'd feel pretty confident saying that they'll finish in the top 12. Mm-hmm. I feel to your point, the little bit of this, the little bit of that is what's working for them. And I think individually, they kind of know where their shots are coming from. And they know that they don't need to step outside of their box to make something ridiculous happen. And I think that's been a huge benefit for the offense when you talk about the shots that RJ Barrett's taking, Scotty's taking, and we expect some drop off in terms of what's happening around the basket percentage wise, but then there's also other areas where you can expect an uptick, right? We've already seen, these last few games quickly start to get it going. You expect Yak to be better as he finds better health. And so I think those are the areas where you look at and say, maybe things will just balance out. And I think there is just more of an element of surprise to this Raptors offense. There's more to be that defenses have to be accountable for. Mm-hmm. And so that allows you to go to different places. And I think, honestly, that's just what having, a legitimate number one option does for the rest of your offense. It puts everyone in their best role. And now, like, you can actually go to each one depending on what the defense presents you. Like when you watch that Atlanta game, the way Atlanta defended in the first half, if the Raptors didn't have a legitimate offensive identity or confidence in their offense, it could have been one of those that ends in a blowout where now it's like those initial actions are getting denied and they're saying, okay, well, we just have no answer for this. But they stuck with it. And then you saw the ball movement got more crisp off of doubles, especially, and they were finding the right shots. And all of a sudden, it was Atlanta that was like, okay, now we have no answer for this. The game was over.
Yeah. I mean, it all points towards something's. I mean, it's better than it has been in the past, full stop. Like, I think we can safely say that. Like, this is not going to be a bottom 10 half court offense. I think that's pretty clear. Whether they stick in the top 10, I think is still up for debate. But I think to your point, yeah, like a lot of the stuff that feels like it's due to regress to the mean negatively, there's, as many things that could regress positively to kind of balance it out. And so, yeah, maybe we just live in a world where the Raptors are good at half court offense and like don't need to rely on spamming the offensive glass, which they've been terrible at so far this year and seem to not be trying to do.
The last thing I'll throw in there is 10, these 10 games they've played, only 2 have been like sub 500 teams. Like they've faced good teams. If it was a case of them facing a whole bunch of Washingtons and Charlottes and all of that, I'd say, okay, let's wait and see,
Yeah, fifth highest, or fifth strongest strength of schedule so far. Last I checked yesterday, across the league, which is, it's no slouches they're playing so far. That will change over the next few as they take on the Nets and the Pacers and the Hornets and the Nets and the Pacers. They play a lot of these teams coming up.
So they're going to go up is what you're saying.
Yeah, they might go on one of these Bulls or Pistons heaters and find themselves near the top of the conference for a hot second in this season-long jockeying that we're going to see. What do you have for your thing that you need more time with to understand or smell properly, Big V?
Yeah, the one that I'm going to be sniffing for a little bit is Brandon Ingram shooting 9 for 31 on catch and shoot threes. So I think that's something that just from watching the games, I feel like his degree of difficulty on the catch and shoots has not been ideal, or at least like his teammates have had the better catch and shoot looks. I think sometimes when he gets those catch and shoot threes, it is end of clock, he's got to get it up, or it is kind of a possession where the offense has kind of been stuck in mud and he's got to jack it up and just takes what he can. So I think that's something I'm going to have to watch for a little bit, saying, is this just going to be the general variety of his catch and shoots? Or is there going to be a path where things improve and, the offense gets to a point where they're able to say, hey, like, we can make these easier for Brandon over here too.
Yeah, it's been an interesting one with Ingram with the threes. I feel like, the pull-up stuff that we've, kind of talked about with Scotty. I mean, he's not taking a ton of pull-ups. It feels like they're going down a lot when he takes them. Is actually pulling it up here, just 33% on pull-ups, which is interesting. 29% on the catch and shoots, as you said, 9 of 31 to start. It's it's been a weird mix. I don't think he's taking enough threes probably for my liking. It's just 4.1 so far. I think he's been eager to take them when they're coming to him. That just doesn't feel like they're coming to him all that often. I don't feel like he's passing up a ton. And there have been some times where he's had really aggressive closeouts and he's just attacked those. And that's been, a perfectly fine way to exercise your gravity and all that stuff too. I'm with you though. I have yet to figure out where Ingram's 3-point shooting fits into the mix here. I feel confident he's a better than a 31.7% 3-point shooter though. Like that feels like it's going to come up one way or another, whether that's via more pull-ups, whether that's via more catch and shoots that are just going down. But yeah, it's been an interesting one to sort out. What have you made of Ingram's first 10 games with the Raptors? Because it does feel like it's been like high highs, not very low lows, but maybe not like anything like blowing the top off your head. I think the offense works a lot better simply because he exists, whether he's putting up big points or not. And the nights where he has gotten hot have been super fun to watch. Glad he's on the team, but I'm still kind of poking around as to what exactly is this experiment going to look like all season long with him in particular?
Yeah, so for me, I'd say first off, like net positive. I think what he's
Totally,
added
yeah.
to the offense is super important, and the way it's affected everyone is huge in terms of their role and the hierarchy, the offensive hierarchy of the team. I'd say
Mhm.
he's been underwhelming as a perimeter defender. I think he's been decent as a rim protector and just how he functions around the basket and using his length.
Handsy
And
help guy, yeah.
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 So I think that's the key is kind of like, Philly, I think put him in, we're smart to put him in actions where he kind of has to chase guys around and chase the ball. And that's probably something that you want to keep him out of
Mhm.
if you can. And, maybe that'll be some interesting film for Darko to look at and be like, hey, okay, how do we kind of minimize these situations moving forward?
Sure.
Yeah, but I think as a scorer, yeah, he's had some of those tough shots where you think, okay, like the decision making could be better. But at the same time, like this is also 10 games into a new team. So you don't
Mhm.
expect every decision to be perfect.
Yeah, I will say, I don't mind it when he decides, hey, I need to get a look up here, especially because
Yeah.
it usually comes at a time where they badly need it. And I think there were a couple instances in those Hawks and Sixers games where the offense was kind of, flagging a little bit, and he comes in and says, okay, like I'm going to settle things down here, and boy, did it settle me. I do think his playmaking could probably be a little like quicker,
Yep.
like in terms of the decisions, the reads he's making. There have been a few times where he sees a double or something like that, and like there's a very clear either close pass or skip pass that he could make, and he totally has those passes in his bag that he's just not quite making yet. Be nice to see if he can kind of unlock that, because I think a lot of the talk about Ingram is like, yeah, he's a way better passer, playmaker than he gets credit for, and I agree. I'm not sure he's really shown that so far, but I do think that would probably come, as you mentioned, right? More time, more reps, more learning these guys. It's still like a process of figuring things out. And, to the point of the starting lineup that I made earlier, I think, Ingram kind of getting more comfortable with those reads as a creator, probably going to go a long way to improving the offense and the sort of production of that lineup overall, one would think.
Yeah.
Big
It
V.
is
Yeah.
just the last thing I will add. It's like pretty cool to have a guy like who pulls off certain one-on-one moves that you're just like, wow.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I
He
think
like,
it was like the spin or like the double spin against the Bucks.
mhm.
Um, it was like, yeah, in and out dribble and then like fade, and it was like, man, that is
Yeah.
just that's
Pretty
ridiculous,
sweet.
and it's cool to see in a Raptors uniform again.
The way he could like split two defenders too in traffic and just like appear at the rim for a layup is pretty awesome. I also love he has like this little throw ahead dribble where he'll like throw
Yeah,
it ahead to himself and just kind of catch it. And it's almost like a self-initiated catch and shoot mid-range jumper that's very pretty to watch. Yeah, it's been cool to watch Ingram, and I think there's still more to tap into there for sure. We're going to leave it there, Big V. Thanks so much for jumping on to talk ball, talk morning rituals, talk cleansing nostrils, all that stuff. We will talk to you about your other grooming habits in a future episode, surely. Big V, anything you want to promote for the good people out there? Deep breathing. All right, cool. Go subscribe to Deep Breathing. You missed your chance to plug the newsletter. Sorry.
it's there, man. Raptors in 7. You see it. You see it
Yep.
in the nameplate.
Yep.
That's all you need to do, really.
Yeah. For the audio listeners, you got that beautiful ASMR of Big V breathing. You don't need to go check out anything else. That's the only work you need from him today. That will do it. We'll be back again on Wednesday to talk about Raptors Nets. Hopefully guaranteed win night. Has to be, right? The Nets are such hot garbage. My God. If they don't win, it will be not the most pleasant podcast
After
tomorrow.
2 days off, geez, please.
Yeah. Hopefully Scotty doesn't have that Hamilton hangover from last night, which is different than the kind of hangover I have living here in Hamilton. Two different types of Hamilton hangover. We're going to leave it there, though. Thank you so much. And we're back again to talk about that Nets game tomorrow. Katie Heindel along for a Thursday spot this week. Joe Wolfon, our new bi-weekly Friday guest on the podcast. He'll be along again this Friday to talk some hoop, and looking forward to have Wolf back on the pod. And yeah, Discord, link in the description of the podcast, all the good stuff. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks for hanging. Bye-bye. Oh my God. I think I hit the ceiling there. Not great, Bob.